even with all of the other things, if you don't do your research to figure out like what's working, like it will take you so long to figure it out on your own. Like just thinking by yourself and trying to piece it together will take you so much longer than if you had just spent some time, just suck it up and do the research. Like, it really helps.
Welcome to Marketing Stuff. If you want to create short form video that captures attention, creates customers, and cashes checks, then we got a banger plan for you today. I have a professional of video content, y'all. Today, if you're returning, I appreciate your continued support. Welcome back, family. Come on in. We about to sit down and do some work. If you're new to the show, come on in. We don't bite. It's about having fun and making sure that you're able to level up your marketing game in a way that you don't feel like you're overwhelmed and drowning. Do me a favor. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any nuggets that we drop ever. That's enough about the show stuff. Let's dive in. Today on the show, we have a video marketing and content strategist that builds iconic businesses using short-form video content. She has been known for reading me the riot act for not doing best practices on my own content. I'm excited to have my friend Lateilla on the show today. Thank you, lady, for joining me.
You're so welcome. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, this is about to be fun. So, quick fact. Matter of fact, I think we're going to start this. Anybody watching or listening, if you can count the amount of people that come to the show that I met off TikTok and email me based on the show number and the current count, I'll send you something. I'll Cash App you, or I'll send you a prize. I don't know what the prize is yet because I'm just making it up on the fly. But we'll make that a thing because I think you're like, I'm not going to get a number. But you're definitely like number umpteenth of people that I met on TikTok. It's pretty wild. So you and I don't remember. Do you remember how we got connected on TikTok?
I don't know.
Okay,
honestly.
Cool. That makes me feel good because a couple folks were like, I don't even remember the content that you commented on. I'm like, what the hell?
I don't know.
Okay, cool.
All I know is I saw a video. I followed you. We were mutuals, and then we were in the DMs. That's pretty much it.
Absolutely. I was like, man, I don't. That they made me feel bad. Actually, I had Connie. Connie, the Google Queen, was on one of the episodes. Matter of fact, if you're watching this right now and you're wondering about SEO, check out her show. I'll link it below. Get access to that. Connie's amazing at SEO and web development stuff. So we brought her on and she was talking about. She was like, I remember the content that it was. I remember the data that came out.
Wow.
Damn.
What details? No.
And when she told me, I was like, oh yeah, that is right. That is right. So I think just that context does lead us pretty nicely into the first question of why is it that small business owners, marketing professionals, and brands need to be on social media?
I think that today it's social media is everywhere. It's inescapable, pretty much, right? And in general, when people are making buying decisions, they don't just look for storefronts anymore, right? They're online because they want convenience. They want to shop in the middle of the night and things like that. And if your business is on social media, you're gaining access to this whole other group of people who you wouldn't have otherwise had access to. And depending on the type of business that you have, you're just going to need social media, right? You get to reach a lot more. Basically, you know what it is? The barrier to entry is just way lower, right? You could have a really good business because of social media. You don't have to worry about a storefront. You don't have to worry about, paying rent and all these things. You can literally do it out of your apartment if you're shipping something physical until you outgrow the space. And if you have like a service-based type of business where you're taking on clients, talking to people, then you you're really like, you really don't have any barrier to stopping you right here, right? You
Yeah.
set up your computer and your space and all of that. You get on social media, you post about it, and boom, you have clients. It is making it so much easier for people to have businesses.
Yeah, I agree. She makes it sound so simple. She like, you just need a laptop and four walls and you bam, six figures.
You need a laptop and some good content
That's that's how she
and
laid that.
dedication and some work.
That's how she laid that. You throw a few posts and boom, the new Rockefeller in here. But yeah,
Right.
I do agree that social media has definitely lowered the barrier. Matter of fact, I know some people now that are essentially using their like social medias as kind of like the first step in their customer journey and really not having traditional websites anymore. They're using things like Stan
Yeah,
and landing
exactly.
pages to like streamline the whole thing. You were talking about it the other day when we when you were on live. Like I just have a landing page. Like that's it.
Yeah, I have never, I like, okay, so my background is in CS. So in the beginning, I was like, oh my God, I want to have this whole website and I want it to be cute and da da da. But then I was like, I actually don't want to do that work. So I'm just
Yeah,
going to make a landing page. I'm just going to make the pages that I actually need. And then the rest of the stuff, we could always like get around to it later. But then I figured
right.
out that you actually don't ever need to get around to it. So the landing page is okay.
She's got some strong opinions about that. I personally am still like, I want my website.
Hey,
Right.
I
I need
understand.
my full on bad boy website.
I'm not knocking that, right? I'm not
Yeah.
knocking that. I completely understand. And I'm like, yeah, I that is one of the things that I want to get around to, right? To like
Yep.
completely build out my whole website and have it be like, oh yeah, it's all in this one place. But in the meantime, I'm like, I'm not going to let not having a website stop me from getting clients. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to be like, what are the pieces that I need? Like absolutely need, and then I make those pieces and
Yep.
then that's it.
I feel that. And I think there's a lot of value in simplification. So we're talking about social media lowers the barrier to entry, but I also think it simplifies, right? Like how do I drive traffic? Well, they're already there,
Yeah.
which is one of the coolest things when you think about like business at one point. There was this age, right? So you talk about traditional marketing age. There was TV, billboard, and radio, right? And then like newspaper, and that's where all the attention was concentrated. And then there was this shift where like people were on the internet, but there was no place where anybody specifically was hanging out. They were just kind of like all over the place, and finding them was so difficult. And then you get this behemoth Facebook that drops in and like changes the game for like advertising. And some people may disagree and be like, well, other platforms, but no, they were the first ones to really get the monetization thing on a social media platform. And part of the reason why, like, I don't think MySpace stuck around because some people, if you're not old enough to remember MySpace, and maybe you're not old enough to be part of this conversation, but some people, like I personally feel like MySpace was a better social media platform, right? But when you talk about monetization, being able to find who you want to find, all that stuff, Facebook is superior in performance there. So, yes, I appreciate you bringing up this idea of like lowering the barrier of entry. Let's talk a little bit more about this social media thing because just had a brand strategist on, and he was talking about like you don't need to be on every social media platform. Pick the ones that kind of hit home. How does a business determine what are the right platforms for them?
That's a really good question because I also agree that you shouldn't be like, you don't need to be on every single platform,
Right.
right? Especially if you're a solopreneur and it's just you and you're trying to do all the things, like
Yeah.
pump the brakes, right? But um, in terms of determining which platform you should choose, I think that one of the things that you need to consider is who your audience is and
Mhm.
what they're doing on the internet.
Yeah.
So if I am, so a lot of people right now, I do TikTok. A lot of people right now are like, TikTok doesn't make you any money, so I'm not going to go on TikTok. Meanwhile, their audience is on TikTok just chilling, just spending hours of their day doing nothing but scrolling on TikTok.
Right.
Right. And so they're like, I think it's important for you to consider where your audience is, like what's the
Yep.
demographics, but you should also consider what you can tolerate. So I know that there's a good chunk of my audience um, on Instagram, but I
Mm.
don't like Instagram and I can't tolerate Instagram. So
Yeah.
I'm not on Instagram. Like I have an Instagram page,
Right.
but I don't really post on there because I don't like the platform.
Right.
And so maybe in the future I'll get around to doing Instagram when I get there. But I find that um, based on me personally, I wouldn't pick Instagram even though I know my audience is there. And then
Yeah.
the other thing is like you also need to look at what are the results that you're getting. So you can, if you're not sure, test them out for a little bit and then see what are the results that you're getting. If you're getting better performance on YouTube than you are on TikTok or on Facebook, then maybe YouTube is the one you start with, and then you can
Right.
branch out from there.
Yeah. And the other side of that, for anybody looking to kind of determine their platform, I have some bias. So I'm gonna share that bias first. I have some
Okay.
bias. I personally prefer long form content as to be the pillar and driver of what you do. You look like you got something to add to that. You're like, yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. So my preference would be like if somebody was like, I want to drive business, and I'm gonna say this first. My service business owners specifically, I want you to go to a platform where you can create long form content first, because I need you to be able to display your expertise, create something of substance, and to be honest, discover your voice. And you really can do that effectively on long form content. And oftentimes, not all, sometimes we need to not do this, but oftentimes you can use that long form content as a gateway into your short form content to then test the waters on some of these other platforms.
Yeah, I agree with you. So here's what you said, that your preference is long form content. And
Yeah.
one of the things that I learned from being on Instagram, because I was on Instagram, I used to do social media management, and doing social media management made me realize that I actually honestly hate like creating content for other people. Like I don't want to manage your social media. Okay. I
I
really
feel that.
don't. Right. It's I can teach you how to do it, but I don't want to do it myself,
Yeah.
which is fine. So, but in all of that, what I figured out as well is that I don't like, this is how I ended up on TikTok. I don't like doing written content, anything that's like I have to write out like a blog post or anything like a long Instagram caption because you need to get people whatever. I hate doing that. I don't like that. I also don't like anything that is going to take me a very long time to, I have to gather this together
Yeah.
and make it like a little essay and make it, neat and nice. I package it together. I don't do that. I dislike it quite a lot. So basically, this is how I ended up on TikTok. So I
Mm.
think that like you have to take into consideration what you like to do as well.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
do agree with you that long form content is important, like for sure. There's honestly no denying that. It's the evidence is there. Um, but in terms of starting out, I do think that consider all of the things that you should consider, like what are you able to maintain.
Yeah, no. Look, most definitely. And here's the truth. Like, if I were trying to get you to do long form content, what I would have you do is just go live on TikTok and then teach a small class.
Hmm.
That's it. That would be your long form content, and it might be like the first one is like, how do you research for their 10 content ideas? What do you do? How do you create those? And then the next one would be like, how do you batch it? And like showing the
Hmm.
process on a whiteboard. That would be the long form. And long form is relative too. So I think sometimes, we got to realize like when I say long form, I mean anything over 10 minutes.
Okay.
But,
I can
yeah,
do like 15, 20 minutes. When I'm
yeah,
thinking long form, I'm thinking like, oh my God, it has to be an hour. No. So
yeah. So I mean, most people when they say long form, they're talking 30 minutes plus. But to me, as short form content becomes more and more prevalent, we have to understand that, like, if I'm on TikTok and I'm used to seeing 30-second videos, and then you plop a 10-minute video in front of me, that is exponentially longer, right? We're talking, what is that, like 20 times longer than what I'm used to watching.
Let me ask you, do you get long videos on TikTok?
Every now and then.
Hold on. What is the, average length of the videos that you get on your For You page?
Probably about 30 to 45 seconds.
Really?
Yeah.
No, almost all of my videos are like 3 minutes.
Really?
Plus. Yeah. And sometimes I don't know, the For You page is different because I use TikTok on my computer. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to get my phone. I'm on my computer a lot. So when I'm scrolling on my computer, what happens is that I get longer videos.
Yes.
Longer than on my phone, I'll get up to 3 minutes. On my computer, though, they'll give me like a 5-minute video or like a 7-minute video. And I'm like, that is so weird. But the majority, like 90% of the content that I get is long videos. It's like 2-3 minutes.
That's interesting. That's interesting. No, most of I guess because, so you do a lot, like you said, you interact with TikTok a lot on your computer. I almost never. It's almost always on my phone. And so maybe that has a lot to do with it because you're engaged, you're in a place where they're pushing long form. So that's an interesting one. I did see those, like they're bringing back horizontal video. So that's weird.
Their platform on desktop, they were testing it out to make it look like YouTube. And they basically, when you log on to TikTok, it was just like the little video in the middle and all of that, and then you probably like not stay on the website very long. But they have like blocked out the whole thing, like your whole screen, to make it so that you're more immersed into the content. So like you have to pay attention.
Yeah. No, they're definitely driving that YouTube direction, which is interesting, right? So as we start thinking about, we're talking about TikTok, and we're talking like TikTok short videos. It's changed the way we consume video. So that leads us to my next question of like, why is it that content has such an impact on the way our customers buy?
This is a really good question. I think that a lot of times content is able to connect with people on an emotional level. And so it is able to move people really quickly, especially if your content is really targeted. And like if you're really I am speaking to this specific person who has this specific problem.
Yeah.
And so in doing that, it really allows you to make a really big impact. So emotionally, people are getting connected to you via this content. And you're triggering things, they're having these feelings, and then they're going to a lot of times go and buy things. People buy things like impulsively because of the content. It's just like it appeals to a thing that they want, and so they just go ahead and do it. So you'll see a lot of content on TikTok where people are like, oh my God, I have to have this thing. Somebody posts something about an Amazon product, right? Immediately it's sold out because that thing appeals to whatever lifestyle they're trying to create.
Right.
They may not have that lifestyle yet, but it hit an emotional button where they're like, oh, if I had this, then I would be a little bit closer to where I want to be. So I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
Right. So
I like that.
That's
no, I think content is weird in the in the sense that like it not only does it provide the education, but it's also like the collective consciousness of the feelings of people. Right? So it's like when I get on and I blog about under my pseudonym about the things that are going on in my life and how, I'm struggling to keep going in life, right? that is a feeling or an emotion that several people are feeling. And then now you got that one person has given me permission to talk about my things.
Yes.
And then now I'm talking, and now somebody else. And so it's this trickle of these are things that I feel and I have felt, but it takes one person to say, I feel the same way. And content does a really great way of like driving that. It's like, you think about it, at one point in time, being a public speaker, you had to like get permission to like go to a place and speak to a crowd of people. And now you get on your phone and you hit live and you're on stage. And it is the craziest thing. And like when I hear it, and I've gotten more to the respecting my audience thing of being like, that video got 200 views. And then for a long time being mad. Like, I only got 200 views. And then realizing that like, bruh, if you were in a gym and there was 200 people, you'd be stoked. Like, stoked. I did a project with a client not too long ago, and we took all the videos that we did and just compiled like the reach of each video and realized that we reached about 10,000 people. Now, we don't know for sure how many of those are unique, but for the sake of what we were doing, we were like, that doesn't even matter, right? That means 10,000 people or however many thousands of people saw this. That's a big deal. And one of our videos had like 3,000 as far as the reach. So we knew it was at least 3,000 people. So even if it's 3,000 people, repeat it, right? Like that's a big deal. And so like in a second here, we're going to talk a little bit about virality. But I think like this desire to go viral almost dehumanizes the view.
It does. It really does. And I made a video about when people are like, oh, I'm mad my video only got 200 views. I really like your perspective shift, by the way, because it's very important. But when people are like, oh, my video only got 200 views, I'm stuck at 200. Yes, that is literally 200 people who just saw you.
Yeah.
One, but also if you're mad about like not reaching as many people, you have another shot. Like not that many people saw it as well. So there's the other side of it where it's like, if you think 200 people is not a lot of people, then not a lot of people saw your video, which means you can post it again.
That's true.
You can post it again and again and again.
That is true. Kind of that other side, like you get more ups. And kind of going back to that speaker thing, like you didn't get another up if you messed it up.
Exactly.
Like that was it. They give you 10 minutes and your 10 minutes is up. They pushing you off the stage, but like social media gives us the opportunity. And what's really crazy about it is like we talked about not going, like you don't have to be present on all platforms.
Right.
But you can literally get on TikTok and go live. You can get on LinkedIn and go live. You can get on Facebook and you can get on Twitter. And so like you can get on 5 different platforms at 5 different times and practice the same thing 5 different times in one day. And no one person would ever see that like twice. So
which is amazing.
Yes.
It's like you have so much access. And this comes back to lowering the barrier of entry too, because you have so much access. You have so much access to like people and attention, right?
Yeah.
And so it gives you the opportunity to kind of like do something that you probably wouldn't have been able to do in a different era.
Yeah, there's definitely people that are winning in the era of social media that would have never made it in previous. Heck, I'm one of them. Well, I won't say never because I get mine, but like you and I specifically probably would have never met.
Right.
Like in a different time.
That is true.
Like
that is true.
And so like you never know. It's funny because I've had people tell me like I had somebody message me the other day. He was like, I've been watching you for the last year and I've used the things that you taught me, like you talked about in your videos, to make $25,000. He's never bought anything from me. He's never bought anything from me.
That's how it goes.
But he was like, I just appreciate you. You don't know how helpful you've been, and just your transparency about the process and then about the expectations helped me in the beginning to keep going when I wasn't winning. And you give things that I can do to try again, right? And he's like, my business is doing really well. We made some changes, but it's a lot of the beginning is because of the things that you share. And it's like, there was a time period where the information that you and I share on TikTok, on Facebook, or whatever, you had to either one, go to the library and like parse through books and try to piece it together, or two, you had to like pay somebody what could be an ungodly amount of money and hope that they know what they're talking about. Right? So while we're talking about this humanization thing, I love people and I want to respect the view, but I also want my videos to get reach. So how do we go about creating viral videos to grow your social influence?
For TikTok, well, in general, virality, if you want like a super mega viral video, so there, well, I think that there are two different types of viral. So you can go viral within your niche, which is like, you have a video that did really good, you got a couple 100,000 views, something like that. Maybe even just tens of thousands of views. Right? I'm like, okay, great, wonderful. And then there's like the video that's gonna get you like 10 million views. Those videos are very different.
Right.
So the 10 million view video has to be appealable to everybody. Usually this is like an entertaining type content.
Yep.
It is usually not anything in depth. It is usually that type of video where, it's short, it's kind of intriguing. Anybody can watch it. Usually there's not really a whole lot of language barrier. You could watch the video, you can understand it, you can enjoy it without understanding what's being said. Right. It's not dependent on that. So if you're like, I want to do like Kabi Lane, if you look at his videos, that's the format. You can understand it. It doesn't matter who you are, what your language is, how old you are. None of that stuff matters. The video is entertaining. Right? And so because those type of videos are able to transcend all of those barriers, they reach a lot further. Right? And so if you want like super mega viral, it's going to be difficult to do within your niche. Like if you're just like, I just want to do it for my business, it can be done, but it's going to be on a smaller scale. In general, for videos that reach far, you got to do all of the things. You got to have a strong hook. Usually if you have something that is more emotionally triggering, or something that hits on a very raw pain point for people, that works really well. So that will get people to stop. It'll get them to kind of stick around longer. Then in the middle of your video, if you're doing something a little bit more related, something that either builds curiosity or something that is delivering on whatever it is that you promised in the beginning of the video, will help them to get through that middle part. And if you embed some additional hooks in there to kind of get them to watch to the end, then you get them to stay even longer, right? So those type of videos will tend to blow up really easily. So if you look at, and also on TikTok specifically, the platform is changing from kind of like the very short kind of dancing text on screen video to more longer form vlog style content, more kind of like very relatable type content. So people are kind of expecting that. So if you're able to create content in that format and kind of give people that, oh yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I understand what you're going through. Here's the solution. But you got to touch on that pain point in the beginning, because it doesn't work otherwise. And so a lot of times, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they'll want to lead with the technical stuff. So I want to tell you all the technical things, and I want to tell you like, okay, you need to know this, because if you don't know this, then you're not going to get the best result. And as the professional, that's your temptation. You're like, I want to give you like something good, like that you're actually going to use and you're going to get value out of, and it's going to be good. If you want to go viral, that's not, you don't do that,
Right.
right?
Right. It's
But
funny.
the reason you don't do that is because it's too much. It's too heavy. They can't deal with it. They're just here to have fun,
Absolutely.
and so they just want the surface level thing that's gonna kind of like touch on their pain point. So you'll see a lot of people go viral, and you'll be so confused. And initially, right? Initially I was so confused. I was like, why is this video viral? It sucks. Like, it doesn't tell you anything. It's so basic. It's not helping anybody. And then
Right.
everybody in the comments is like, oh my God, this is amazing. You just changed my life. I'm like, how? No, they didn't. You don't have any information. Like, this
Yeah.
is like super basic stuff. But the thing is that those videos, even though they're basic, is exactly what the person needed at that time.
Right.
It touched exactly on their pain point. It gave them a mini solution, and now they feel like, oh yeah, I have hope. I know what to do. I feel like things are gonna work out. Like, and pretty much that's it.
Yeah, it's funny. A mentor of mine has a brand called Hope Dealer, and I feel like sometimes that's what we're doing on TikTok. We're just like, you gonna make it. Like, it's funny you brought up the like vlog style, and I've
Mhm.
started doing the get ready with me's,
Oh
and
yeah,
those,
I saw two of those.
yeah, those actually do, like, comparatively to my other videos, better, right? And it's like, for the longest, I was like, get ready with me. Nobody wants to get ready with me.
You should do day in the life videos. You should do one
I
of
still have
those,
not figured
like,
out a good way to do it for me, right? Because,
okay.
like, I'm always, like, I'm moving. Like, today is challenging because I'm recording, I'm doing all this other stuff. And I bought a thing for a tripod so I could set it up and like leave my phone on record. But I still haven't figured out. That was kind of the thing with the get ready with me's, is I couldn't figure out
Mhm.
how to make it work for me until, I don't know. I was just like, oh, you know what? I'll just comb my beard and shave my head. I was like, I don't even know what I do to get ready. Like, how do I make a whole video with this mess? And so I think whenever that clicks for me, as far as like how I can do that, I have considered doing more with like my actual cameras. So I have these 4K cameras that are sitting right next to me. Like, I could set one of those up, turn them on the side for vertical video, and just let that be it. But I still haven't like figured out the right approach for me. But it's coming. I was just watching a video a couple of days ago about like vlog style content. And it's like this marketing stuff podcast page, and the reason why it's not specifically learn from marketing professionals, because like we just gonna be talking about stuff, period. Right. So
Right.
like some of the stuff that we'll do is eventually I'll test out some vlog style content where I'm talking about like, we're gonna go into the office. Here's the here's the walk and all the, so, but it is again trying to figure out the flow that works for me so that I can be authentic to myself, and then,
Right.
actually like show up. But I'm building out a new office soon, a new studio. This one behind me, the lease is up in March, and I won't be signing a new lease. And so what I didn't do the last time was I did not record any of the process of like building the studio. This time, I think I'm going to try to record the whole thing of like building a podcast studio. Like, what are we trying to consider? Because we don't know what we're doing. Like, let's be real.
I think that would do well.
Yeah, we'll see. So that's a little thought of like, follow me on this journey of building a professional podcast studio, because there's not a ton of content online of like how to build a podcast studio, like one that you can serve clients in. There's a couple, and they do pretty good. But then at the same time, it's like, from the perspective of an individual that wants to create something, like, this is not the move. So we can talk about that another day. So
But
we've got into like this idea of like creating content, respecting our audience, but like how do I find the ideas or come up with the ideas for my content that actually brings me customers? Right? Like,
okay, so in general, I break my content into three pieces.
okay.
And so you kind of have to think of TikTok is I'm gonna just speak about TikTok, right? But it pretty much works everywhere. So I break my content into three different types of content. So the first type of content is meant to bring people to me,
Mhm.
right? This is the kind of fluffy content, the let me touch on your triggers, let me show you what you can have, let me show you what I have, what I've done, all of those type of videos. And those videos are the ones, like I said, that tend to go viral. Those are the ones that'll reach further. They will bring more people to you. They will have people being like, how did you do that? Da, 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 da. They don't have enough information, so they want to learn more. My goal is to get those people to come to my page. That's it,
Right.
right? With that content, I just want you to leave the For You page and get to my page. That is it. That's the goal. Once you're on there, though, the other type of content comes into play. So this is where we kind of, share your expertise. This is where you do the educational stuff. You give the tips. These videos,
Yeah.
they're not going to go as far, but um they're going to help nurture your audience, right? So they're going
Right.
to get people more interested. They're going to get curious. They're going to be able to see like, "Oh yeah, I'm not doing this thing. You just helped me figure something out." All of that. And then those videos are good videos to get people to either apply to work with you or sign up for whatever it is that you're selling or whatever the case is, right? And so you can either just leave the video as it is,
Mhm.
or you could just add a call to action at the end where you're telling them, oh yeah, hey, I have XYZ available, um, or if you want to sign up, this is how you do it. If you have any whatever, send me a DM, all of that. And then there's the type of content. So that's that middle content. Then the last one is literally just being like, hey, I have this thing. Do you want it? And that's it, right? You just make the offer. Now, if you're doing high ticket offer, if you have high ticket offers, I do not recommend that you say, hey, come pay $10,000 to work with me right now. Obviously, you're going to tell people about maybe you can tell them about applying to work with you, or you can, or getting on a discovery call, or you could tell them about what do you call it? If you want to do like the email way, get them into
Right.
your email list, and then you nurture them through email and all of that.
Definitely.
But in general, those are the three types of content. And in terms of content ideas, so once I figure out the three types of content, the content ideas are easier to figure out. So from there, I'll figure out like, okay, who am I talking to? What are they struggling with? What are their pain points? What is the experience that they're having that they don't want to have?
Yeah.
Once I figure out this, then I can create the first set of content, because that's like more surface level type content.
Yeah.
What are some mindset shifts that they need to have? What are some stories that they need to hear? What are some lessons that they need to learn? That's the second type, right? And then the third one, what am I selling? What do I want them to do? Do I want to get them on my email list? Do I want them to apply? Do I want them to join my live? Do I want them to, what's in it for them, right?
Right.
What's in it for them? What do I want them to do? And I just make a video on that. And so usually these three together work pretty well. If I'm out of content ideas, though, just content ideas, and I'm like, I don't know what to post about, I use what you call it, Answer Socrates. I use Quora. I use TikTok, because TikTok TikTok has a lot of content ideas. Like, read comments, okay? There's
Yeah.
so many comments that people are not answering. So like all of these things, it really is just like doing some research, and that's mainly where I get like content ideas and stuff from.
Yeah. The value of doing your research is just immense,
It
right?
is.
And it's so boring. Like, I'm just gonna be real with you. Like,
It depends though. I like doing research because I'm like nosy. I'm like, I want to be in your business.
yeah. Listen, the insights that I gain from research are fantastic, and I love gaining the insights. But the act of doing the research, like the sitting there and trying to figure out, like, that's not exciting. It's
I think really, I
no.
think it depends.
Mm-mm.
No, listen, here's what. I think it depends on the state of mind. Like if I'm in the mood where I'm like, I'm just curious. If I'm just doing it for fun, then it's like cuz I sometimes I'll just find a page and I don't have a client in this niche. I'm not in the niche, but I'm curious. I want to know, like I'm like this is interesting. What's going on here? Right?
Yeah.
And then I'll just like go down a little rabbit hole and then have fun there and then
Listen,
I already did what I did. So
I don't personally mind doing research, which is why that's one of the products or services that I've like decided to keep on the marketing side. It's
mhm.
like research. I'll do it for you. Speaking of which, if somebody is looking for somebody to do their marketing research, let me know. Email me at maurice@marketinggrowthstrategy.com and we can get you done. But acknowledging the process can be overwhelming, time
Okay.
consuming, and just not logistically exciting. It's not the sexy
That's
part.
fair. That's fair. That's fair. That
Yeah,
is true. But this is why I'm like it I don't do research when I'm like, oh, today's such a terrible day. I'm stressed out. I'm not trying to do research at that time. And and you know what? Honestly, it depends. For me, it depends on what the topic is and
yeah,
it depends on like if it's something that I'm interested in, then I don't mind doing the research.
right.
Um if it is one of those topics where I kind of feel like, oh, this is so boring, then of course, you know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna struggle through it, but it's gonna get
absolutely.
done.
I'm a lover. I'm a lover of some good research. I will say this, and I even mean like reading people's research. Like I'm a fan.
Mm,
Give me, like,
no, I don't do that.
listen. You probably
I don't like that.
haven't. You probably didn't see it, but like it's probably like and his old video, but it was probably like 6 months ago. Like I put up a video and I was talking about why, as a small business owner, spending like focusing on and spending all the effort up front into creating a brand was the wrong thing to do, right? And it's funny because again we just had a show with a brand strategist. His name's James. If you're interested in that show, the information will be linked in the show notes below. You can go check it out, hear the perspective. But as a performance-based marketer, I understand the value of branding. But branding needs to be the result of conscious thought after the marketing performance stuff, right? Specifically for new business owners. If you are a venture-backed company, I'm not talking to you. If somebody wrote you a check for $10 million, you can spend $100,000 on some branding. Go
Right.
for it. But if all you got is $1,000, then we have to be good stewards of the resources that we have. And you don't have resources to be spending $500-$600 on a logo. You ain't got that, right? And we can get something popping. We can get something popping for $1,000, but it ain't gonna be branded. Not like that. Like we gonna go into Canva. We we gonna go into Canva. We gonna mess around.
Exactly.
We gonna Google your business type, and we're gonna see what other people got going on. And we might go to Behance. If you've never been on Behance, that's where all the designers go and throw their stuff on there. You
Yeah.
type in your niche into Behance, you see what people are designing. You're like, okay, I'm not going to get anything perfect or near close to these, but at least I have a jumping off point to say, if I create something
Mhm.
like this, it's not going to be horrible. And in the beginning of your business, sometimes your goal is to not suck. And it's
I
just getting
agree. I
that point.
completely agree.
Yeah. So like, so this guy was like, oh, this is the worst advice I've ever seen ever. And I was like, well, here's 5 direct marketers that would disagree, pointing to some books. And then here's some research documents that would suggest that what I said had value. Right. So like, that's me. I'm the one that will be like, Oh, I don't speak from opinion, my friend. Like, this is tested information, whether it comes directly from me or not. I go find answers. So I'm all about the research. Got to give it to me. Last, I guess, second to last question is, how does somebody go about making their content better?
It depends on where you're starting from and what does better mean,
Yeah.
right? So the thing is, so I'll say this. If you want to make your content better, if you're creating content and it's not performing,
Mhm.
right? Specifically on these short form platforms where people are scrolling, you have to understand that people are coming into your video with no context. They don't
Right.
know what's happening. And also, at the same time, they are actively looking for a reason to leave. So they want to scroll away. So you have to keep in mind that this is happening, right?
Right.
So somebody's going to see your video. They don't know who you are. They don't care because they don't know who you are.
Right.
And they're looking for a reason to not watch this video. So when you're thinking, how can I get people to watch more? How can I get in front of more people? How can I create content that makes people stop? You want to think, okay, how do I give these people some context? How do I give them a reason to stick around, to stop scrolling? That's first of all. And then once they stop scrolling, while they're watching my video, am I making this engaging enough, interesting enough? Am I giving them a reason to continue watching for the next second? You're not even thinking like, how do I get them to watch 2 minutes? How do I get you to watch the next second instead of scrolling away? So when I'm thinking about like, how do I make my content better? I'm just looking at what are all of the reasons why this isn't working, and not even why this isn't working. What are all of the opportunities that people have to scroll away? And what are all of the opportunities that I have to inject maybe some curiosity or to inject some excitement or to inject something in here that will make you stay longer?
Okay. And then how does somebody figure out what those things are, right? Like, I'm starting from square one. I don't know nothing about TikTok. I don't know nothing about...
Do you know about your audience?
No.
So that's where we start. My thing is,
how do I do that though?
If I want to make good content, I know nothing about TikTok. I know nothing about video. I know nothing about creating content.
Mhm.
And my goal is to create content. So first of all, I'm going to go do some research. I'm going to go watch and see like what does good content look like to other people on this platform? You have to start with the research. I don't ever skip this because you don't know what's going on. You're coming in with nothing, right? So you kind of have to spend some time basically just watching, observing, taking notes. That's the first step. Second step, once you kind of have an idea of, okay, so I see these type of videos doing well, start asking yourself why. Why did I stop scrolling? Why did I keep watching? Why did I like the video? Did I open the comments? Did I go to their page? You have to like actually pay attention to what you're doing, right? And that can be hard because TikTok is one of the platforms where you go on there and then you kind of zone out. So you go on there with the intention of doing your research, and then you kind of like, oh yeah, it's been 2 hours and I didn't actually write anything because I was busy watching the videos. So the thing is, if that happens, you go back through your likes and you figure out why did I stop?
Yeah, there you go.
What was it about the video? Right? You go back through it and you do it again. So that's the first part. But then the next part is you need to figure out who you're trying to reach. Who's your target? What are they going through right now? So for me, when I work with clients, step one, it doesn't matter what you already have. We always go over the client part first. Again, we do it again. Right? So we do it, the ideal client and all those businesses. We kind of figure out that part again, your target again, because I know that whatever you had before wasn't working. So there's something missing. So we need to start again, right? Let's just start over. Maybe you had it right, but I need to make sure.
Yeah.
So we start again. We gain a lot of clarity on what's going on with these people. What do they actually want? And when I say what do they want, I don't mean what do you think they want? I don't mean what is the, politically correct thing that everybody says that they want. What do they actually want?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if you're a fitness coach and if you're a fitness coach and you're marketing to your clients, hey, you need to get fit, you should follow me. You should hire me to help you get back in shape. You should, you got to lose weight. It's good for your health. But
Right.
this person only cares about having a fat ass and being desired by everybody.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about being fit.
Absolutely
Okay,
not.
they don't want to hear that,
Absolutely
and your message
not.
isn't connecting because you're coming from the wrong direction.
There you go.
So I need you to figure out, what do the people really want? And then we speak to that. What do you want? And then we talk to that. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's what I was hoping you got to. This idea of like, listen, there's stated desires, right? And we can get into like some of that Freud stuff where he's like, we say things that we want, but then we have repressed desires. The stuff that we really want, but society says it's not okay for us to say.
Yeah, exactly.
And those are the things, like, if you get on, like, look, I know all you really want is to quit your job and to be able to give everybody the middle finger. Like, if that's what, like, this is what it is. That's why you're in entrepreneurship. It's not about leaving a legacy. You're full of it. Like,
exactly.
You only say that because they told you to say that. And now you're like, I want to leave a legacy. Like, no, you don't.
Yeah,
no,
it sounds good.
You're right. You try to make sure you ain't got to get up on Tuesday at 7 a.m. to go in and talk to Bill because Bill is an a-hole. And no offense to any Bills out there. You might be a great guy or girl or neither, right? This is an inclusive show. So, no, yeah, I appreciate that because that whole like unstated desire thing gets overlooked so much. Even by like, let's be transparent here. I do it sometimes. I get excited about what I found and I'm like, yeah. And then I start trying to create something and I'm like, this ain't it. This ain't it. Cause I can continue to ask myself like, why do they want that? And if it's like, they want a house, they want a 6-figure house and cash to be able to live freely. It's like, but why? And it's when you get to the point where like, you can't say, but why? Like, you got something. Even with the whole the reason why she want a fat ass is because she was rejected by everybody in high school and she wants to show them that they missed out. Like, oh, snap. Now when you talking like, do you want to get a fatty so you show all them people that passed you up in high school that they missed out on a whole 10?
So this is gonna connect real good. You know it's gonna work.
Yeah, I do. Do you want to get washboard abs so your high school crush wishes that she had taken you to prom? Yeah, I do.
Exactly.
Hey, if you thought the stuff that she was dropping on this was good, by the time this show drops, she'll have her coaching program ready to go. We'll drop the link below so you can check it out. Go check out her TikTok. We're gonna drop that in here as well. What's the handle for your TikTok?
It's my name, at Lateilla. I'm at Lateilla everywhere.
Okay, cool. You want to spell that for everybody?
Oh, it's LATEILLA.
Perfect.
So at Lateilla. Everywhere you can think of, I'm probably at Lateilla there.
Excellent. So if you're looking to connect with her, make sure you jump over there. Her free content is fire, but the paid stuff is better. Just saying. Yeah. Just saying. Look, if you've been watching the show at all, you know that I'm about paying people to speed yourself up. And I share this with anybody listening or watching if you're on YouTube. I just paid for a coach that's going to cost me $27,000 this year. And if I'm willing to put the money in, you for damn sure I want you to do it. Like this not my money. Of course I want you to spend it. But the point that I'm trying to drive home is you pay for speed.
Yeah.
And if you're at a place where you're like, you know what, I think TikTok is the place where I should be driving content and sales, and you're like, you're trying and you're not seeing the success that you want to see, you need to get somebody like her to help you so you can get through the rut. Right? If you're happy with your results and you're like, I'm just cool with making videos, right?
Yeah.
Like me, I go over there. I just make videos. I use it for research and to see what's working. And then I post them videos on other platforms because I know that it's a trend-setting platform. But I'm not really necessarily trying to get a client off TikTok. Like, let's just be real. So I could use some viewers, though. So when the podcast drops, you'll see, check out the podcast on Spotify and any place where you listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
That'll be that call to action on everyone. Check out the podcast. All right. So the last question I got for you, if there was any one thing, like if a listener could only take away one thing from everything we talked about today, what would that one thing be?
Oh, I would say do your research. I think because even with all of the other things, if you don't do your research to figure out like what's working, like it will take you so long to figure it out on your own. Like just thinking by yourself
Yeah.
and trying to piece it together will take you so much longer than if you had just spent some time, just suck it up and do the research.
Yeah.
Like it really helps.
That's good stuff. Do your research.
Do your research.
I cannot agree more. Research. It will pay off. Well, hey, y'all, that's a wrap for today's episode of Marketing Stuff. We've enjoyed having you and hope that you found these nuggets nuggeting. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get notifications when we drop new episodes. If you're on YouTube, hit that bell icon so we can get you squared away. You don't miss it. And if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, make sure you hit that follow, subscribe button so you can get access to the new episodes as they come out. If you're interested in getting the notes from this episode so you can get the notes directly from Laiteilla's mouth, feel free to fill out the link in the description. You can get access to the notes from today's show. Man, I appreciate you so much for watching. Outside of that, stay on here with it, yo.